Is it true you used to burn your fingers sitting at the helm?
Yeah, what happened is George went away to, like I said, to do the John Wayne movie, and they put me on this this big bridge there, and they said, okay, you're going to be in Sulu's spot just for now, and here's the controls, and here's this, and you're going to look up, and every now and then you're going to say, okay, to the warp factor 5 degrees out, and all of a sudden I didn't realize that you cannot keep your fingers on these lights for very long, like maybe a split second. Otherwise, you burn your fingers. So I go like this, and I'm touching, oh, like that. And they were filming it, and they said, are you okay? And I said, it's red. I said, oh my God, my fingers are all burned. So George failed to tell me that, Sean, just hit them lightly when you're doing the bridge, because they were all incandescent lights underneath. There were no halogen lights at that time. So that's why you see the bridge, and it's lit up so beautifully. They got these 2, 3 big hot lights underneath this plastic.
Yeah. They had to be so bright, because if you're on a TV set, it's like us sitting here with these lights on us. It's just flooded with light.
Flooded.
So to make those lights pop out, they have to be bright, like on a cop car.
Right.
You know? Yeah. And so imagine putting your fingertips on those things. Kirk's saying warp 3, warp 4, and you're dying. We're here to sizzle.
Yeah.
That's your flesh. Any other questions? We have maybe about 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes.
5 more minutes.
Right here.
I always ask, so your favorite funny story of something that happened on the set of the United States?
Favorite funny story on the set of Star Trek?
Oh.
Oh. Go, Nichelle.
Let me think for a minute.
That can be shared in a family environment.
Exactly.
What was that?
That can be shared in a family environment.
Family environment.
Well, I know one you were in. I mean, we talked about the first interracial kiss.
Oh.
And you know, the network guys were nervous about the Southern affiliates. And so they were there and said, well, let's shoot it twice. Let's shoot it once where you just kind of touch cheeks.
Yeah, let's shoot it. Well, they came in to see it, and before they got there, it was going to be gone. We just can't have this. And the first thing we did was did the scene the way it was written. And the guy from Paramount, he said, I'm not sure. Could we see that again? And I laughed. And he looked at me, you know, and he says, why are you laughing? And I said, it's you who doesn't want it in the picture, but you want to see it again. And he looked at me, and he looked at me, and he went. That is kind of funny, hasn't it?
Well, I have
Well, let me add to that, though. So they made them shoot it 2 different ways. So the first time they did the real kiss, which you and Bill Shatner kissed. And then they were running out of time. It was up to the last minute. Paramount was real tight at this point because Desilu had gone out of business before. And Paramount said, you're not doing that to us. You guys finish shooting at 6:20 p.m. and that's it. And they would start turning the lights off.
Yeah,
If the director.
Turn the light
So
off.
they had one last take, and the NBC guys are all nervous, standing there watching. We need the fake kiss, where you're just going to touch the cheek. So they got this shot, and it went fine in one take. And they said, great, and the NBC guys left, and they turned the lights down. What they didn't realize is what William Shatner did, because the NBC guys are over here, and the camera's here, and he's like over on this side of Nichelle's head. The camera's looking right at him, he crossed his eyes. And the next day they're looking at the dailies, and they can't use that take.
The funny part, the truth of that is that we were doing it, and we were doing a run for it, a rehearsal for it, and then we're going to go on camera. And so when we were doing the kiss, and he said, I want you to really kiss because this has got to look right, and I've got to see if it's going to be right when we, and so he came to me, and you know, we're about to kiss, and so forth, and I did.
You grabbed him and started kissing.
his tie.
Oh, you grabbed his
His
tie?
And he thought he looked at me and he thought it was so
Matter with
funny that he was going with it. And so then we refused to do any more. We refused to do the corrected version. And the director swore he never saw it. Because he's the one sent it in. And we thought that, but we had so much fun doing that because we knew we were going to all get fired, but they couldn't fire us because it was going to be the end of the series.
Yeah. You know, you can go online and you can type in Star Trek bloopers. And you'll see they did a bunch of blooper reels for the Christmas parties each year, where they would take a lot of outtakes of guys bumping into doors, but you can see the fun they had on this show. Because Bill Shatner, first of all, you couldn't keep him from teasing people. And you were all always trying to make Leonard Nimoy crack up.
Yeah.
Because Leonard, once the makeup went on, he tried never to
He was
smile.
totally in character, yeah.
We got him once,
He
though.
and I came from the same town, and my mom and his mom were friends. And it was really weird when I came on the show, I didn't know that. My mother says, you know, Mrs. Nimoy and I are friends. I said, really? Oh, yeah, we shopped together at the market. And I said, oh my God, I want to talk to him. And I was talking to Spock, but here, we're not even working yet. You know, we're not even on the scene yet. He said, he looked at me and he said, your mother and my mother? Really? And my mother? Really? And he just walked away. The guy was totally in character, but I got a funny story that happened coming to the set. Because they dyed my hair your color, right? And I thought, oh, and my eyebrows, they dyed it white. So I'm an albino person for about a week. And I walk around Los Angeles and people are feeling bad for me. You know, they're going like, oh, look at that poor gentleman. You know, oh, and you know, I got blue eyes and then the white hair and the white eyebrows. I'm 25 years old. And I said, wow, this is really weird the way I can see now these poor people that have that expression or something, as it's called. I've got to have more empathy for them, like you said, learning by what you do right on the show. So the first day on the set, I'm driving. I said, I got to be on time, I got to be on time. And all of a sudden, my clock, something happened to it at the house. Oh my God, I'm 20 minutes, I've got to get there. And I'm up in Eagle Rock, right? I'm not far from Hollywood, but I'm pretty far. I get in my car and I'm driving down the street and it's like 5:30 in the morning, I gotta be at 6. And I'm coming along the Hollywood freeway and all of a sudden, cop car behind me. Oh my God. And I pull over and I know I'm gonna be late and he comes up to the car and he says, you see how fast you were going? I said, yeah. And he looked at me, he said, let me see your license. I showed my license. Dark brown hair, blue eyes. And he's going, where in the hell are you going? He said, well, I'm going to Paramount for start figures. He says, just slow down next time. That time they gave warnings.
Oh, boy. You know, well, they had an
We
explosion.
had so many, excuse me.
Sure, go ahead.
We had so many fans who were cops, robbers,
You name it.
doctors, I mean, the
Scientists.
gamut, scientists, oh my God, scientists.
I had a pilot.
If they could get on the set,
Oh, that would be the biggest thing.
exactly.
I had a pilot come up to me, I was at the Vegas show, and he was from Nellis Air Force Base. He'd just come back from Afghanistan. He said, hey, you know what, got pipe? I said, yeah. He says, we have the pipe code when we fly over enemy territory in Afghanistan. He says, what's that? And he says, it's, yeah, Roger, is that a 1 beep or a 2 beep? I thought, how clever is that? They're all brought up on it. All those pilots.
They did an episode called The Apple in the second season, and they shot it on stage 10, instead of out on location.
The Apple, I know that.
Yeah, and lots of explosions, in that episode. And that's where Bill Shatner and DeForest Kelley both got tendonitis in their ears.
Wow.
But even Leonard Nimoy, all three of them had to be rushed to a doctor's office because the explosion was so bad. And they were taken there in their uniforms. Now imagine the people in the waiting room waiting to see this doctor, and here comes Kirk, Spock, and McCoy in uniform, paraded through the place, and they get to cut in front of you because they're due back on set, and they all go in there and have their hearing checked. Now here's the great thing, watch that episode. And as Spock throws this rock aside, he finds this rock and he says, oh, interesting cleavage, and he tosses it aside. And there's this big explosion. When it hits the ground, that's the take. because they didn't reshoot it. So look at it, and you can slow your DVD player down, and look at the reaction on Shatner and Nimoy and Kelly as they're kind of blown back from this explosion. And right after that is when the director yelled cut and took them all to the doctor's office. They came back and they weren't going to reshoot
It was
that.
when what happened?
The apple. When a big explosion on set. And that is still in the episode. Because they're not going to reshoot that thing.
You bet.
Yeah, yeah. So, but what happened to you on the first episode she was in, this is what I learned digging through all the documents. You see, you can't hide anything from me.
Uh-oh.
Her first episode, after she got hired and they figured out the name of the character was going to be named after that book you were carrying and everything else, and she's in there, was her third day on the set, and she's late arriving, which is not like her in all the years she was there, because she was in a car accident right outside the studio.
That's right.
And they had to take her in, this is all in the records, they had to put some stitches inside her lip, and they put them on the inside so it wouldn't show on the outside because you had to do your close-ups that day. So if she's saying hailing frequencies open and she's kind of tight-lipped, you know why? She's got a cut inside her mouth. So that's the Corbin eye maneuver. You can watch for her close-ups in there and you'll know what was going on. Yes, sir.
That's called the show must go on.
Put on a tough upper lip, right?
Yeah, tough upper lip.
Yeah, you know what? There was somebody in the back who had a question. We can only take one more, do you?
One more. Sorry about that.
And I've been ignoring the back of the room. Is there still a question back there?
Well, actually, you answered it a little bit, but I was
Where are you?
Standing
Hello.
over there.
Oh, I see you. Waving.
Fire away.
I was wondering how being on Star Trek changed you.
How did Star Trek change
Both
you?
of us, respectively.
Why not both of you?
Every episode that I was in, I kept shaking my head and saying, this thing is still going. It's amazing. Because we didn't know when it was going to end.
Yeah.
We thought, oh, this is a, we didn't know the greatness of this show, even when you're in it, you know? It was just like, oh, it's another job. And then you realize it's a very, very different kind of job, you know? Like the stories and the way it was
Yes.
all being done. And so
We lived every day thinking
it
that
changed
that
my
would be
life.
the last
Yeah,
week.
it changed my life immensely after that because every series I worked on for another 18, 19 years on different shows. And Gene Roddenberry needed to put a Russian on the show, so he took me off as Lieutenant DePaul. And he said, but Sean, I'm going to write to the casting people. And sure enough, he wrote a nice glowing letter about me. And I was working on Get Smart. I was working on Doctor's Hospital. I was working on shows. And I said, thank God, but I'll never forget my beginning was with Star Trek. So it changed my life. It actually gave me my jump start, a beginning of my career.
Now, Nichelle, it's for you, it's got to be a little different because being in every episode almost. And for all of you, for Jimmy Doohan, who was in so many things before Star Trek, but after that, everybody thought he was really had a Scottish accent. Well, we can't hire him, he's got a Scottish accent. So that's typecasting. Did you
We
experience
had
that?
to fight that too, you know.
And did you experience that as well, typecasting? She's only your her now?
Well, I couldn't change my color is the problem. You see, I had to just, I had a contract and they couldn't, they had to take me as I am because Gene Roddenberry cast me in it. But not every, but director after director tried to take the camera off of me or to have me out of the thing. And Gene would see the episode, you know, that night. He saw everything for the whole day, the whole shoot. And I do like this episode, the thing we did on the 3, what's that? And 6, maybe 2 and maybe 8. No, 8 definitely. And come in the next day. Because these are the ones that they had corrected, taken out. Come in the next day. We're going to reshoot some of yesterday's, and Nichelle, that one that you were in, didn't it bother you that we didn't shoot it? Like it was my fault. You know? And I said, no, it didn't bother me at all. because I thought that, well, why? I don't understand. I said, well, because I thought it was badly written, but was vital to be in the show. And so I thought that it should just simply be rewritten according to the truth of the show. And then he's trying to shut me up, and he couldn't shut me up. I went on and on and on, because this was being recorded, and the head of Paramount was in so they couldn't shut me up. And so I went and I said, and it was kind of like that one we did last week, remember? And as no, that was, they're just trying to shut me up, and I just kept talking. And I was talking like this. And, well, don't you remember the one? Yeah, the one in which, and I'm telling him about the one in which, and I'm talking about the whole damn thing, you know, and so forth and so on. Didn't you remember? And he's going, I said, well, we shot it. Don't you remember? And things like that happened, you know. And so I learned, rather than to get upset about it, to give him one of those to deal with. Don't you remember when we did it? Well, wait a minute. Was that the one that and you said we shouldn't do it because it was didn't belong in the thing, and I was having a difference of opinion. I thought it really did have to go into the and it was always one I was in. That this guy, this one director.
So to pick up the question,
Yeah.
the controversialness that you brought to the set was actually something you stayed with because you knew if it was not right, you weren't going to go with it. Because you're an artist first.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're not an automaton. You don't go along.
Well,
And-
what you do is when you know that it's wrong,
Yes,
the right that they want,
yes,
you do it wrong.
yeah.
Because you do it the way it should be done.
That's true. I've seen that in a lot of
Yes.
shows where you know it's not right, and so you blow a line or you just do
Yeah.
something that's not right.
Right.
When you know it's not right,
Yeah.
and you know that you could say it better in another way.
Yeah.
You foiled them by screwing up the take.
Well, not only that, you know that they know that they screwed up the first one.
That's right.
So it's only proper that when they keep screwing up the one that you're in,
You're gonna screw up one they're in.
did I do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
How's our time?
Oh, well, I think we're out of
I
time.
think we're out of time.
I think
we're out of time.
we need to go up front though, and we
Yeah.
can say hi to all of
You
you
can
up
ask our
front.
questions maybe when we get up there.
We'll sneak out the side and we'll
Yeah.
meet you around front. How's that?
Thank you so much.